Welcome back to Arise Review. The new king of Saudi Arabia wasn't there, but a host of other Gulf state leaders did attend President Obama's summit. They represent the Gulf Cooperation Council, better known as the GCC, and they received a reassuring pledge from President Obama. He pledged that the United States is ready to help defend Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, and Bahrain.
First, I am reaffirming our ironclad commitment to the security of our Gulf partners. As we've declared in our joint statement, the United States is prepared to work jointly with GCC member states to deter and confront an external threat to any GCC state's territorial integrity that is inconsistent with the UN Charter.
Well, former Ambassador Richard Murphy joins us to discuss what this means. Welcome, of course, to the show, as always. It's good to have you here, Ambassador. Tell us about this joint statement. How significant is it, in your opinion?
The whole session
Yes.
that they had. I think it was a useful moment. They're never comfortable. It's an uneasy job being small states in an area where they see threats from Iran, threats from ISIL, threats all around.
Mm-hmm.
They're wealthy, they're well armed, but they feel vulnerable.
Absolutely, especially with what's going on in Iran right now. But the question I have to ask is the snub by the king of Saudi Arabia. What is that? Explain that to us.
I wouldn't make a big deal out of that.
Really?
I'll tell you why. The people, he's been in touch with our president repeatedly, who went there personally to condole the loss of the former King Abdullah,
Mm-hmm.
and has been in touch with him just before the summit. He sent his two most trusted people on foreign policy issues, on intelligence, counterterrorism, to the meeting with Obama. And the fact that he didn't come personally may reflect he's just not that comfortable traveling around, going to conferences. He hasn't done much of that in his own past.
But what does that say about his leadership? Because, some might be thinking this was largely symbolic of some mistrust or distrust or whatever, but obviously what you're saying, that doesn't seem to be the case.
No, I don't. Look, there's an inherent distrust of the United States that while we've been a very good friend, are we going to stay a very good friend? And it gave Obama the chance to reiterate, to repledge, if you will. Look at the record. Look what we did to stand by Saudi Arabia in arms sales, which
Sure.
were contested by Israel. When Iraq, Saddam Hussein's Iraq, moved into Kuwait, we moved right out to push him away. So our record is strong, and it'll be strong against foreign aggression.
But Ambassador, there does seem to be some dissatisfaction amongst all parties with a possible nuclear deal with Iran. Saudi Arabia certainly has voiced their own concern about this. And how do you think that has played with the GCC?
It's played to them in a very interesting way. It's
Yeah,
not that they're afraid of a nuclear bomb coming at them from Iran. What they're afraid of is that if there is this deal, on that day there will be the beginning of relief from sanctions. UN sanctions, NATO sanctions, American sanctions. And that's going to spring loose a lot of money that the Iranians, whom they deeply distrust in terms of political games in the area, will have more money to play with and more games to work against their interests.
And money means power, Ambassador. And nobody seems to trust the Iranians on anything. They'll say it publicly, some will say it privately. That's the case. Money means power. If they get this money, I guess the question is, if there is some sort of nuclear deal, how can they be controlled? How can they be monitored, in your mind, when so many people don't trust the Iranians?
Well, the terms of this deal are supposed to include a very tight control and inspection regime over their nuclear capabilities. Now, we'll see. That's already been bad-mouthed in our Congress. It's not going to be adequate. There's one interesting thing about attitudes towards Iran. They are held up to a very high standard that they are so clever, so cunning, they're going to outwit us. They invented chess. Well, they didn't invent chess. They play it very well. Okay. But the whole point of these negotiations is to give reassurance to the world that they are not pursuing a nuclear weapons program.
Without any kind of nuclear deal, the consensus, the general consensus seems to be that they will get the capability of producing a nuclear bomb anyway. Does the deal just perhaps slow this whole process down?
Well, you could say that for 10 years their progress is frozen and it is pushed back in terms of destroying a number of centrifuges and all that. All these details are on the table. But you can't erase from the Iranian scientists' minds what they have already studied and worked on in the nuclear area. I don't say it's nuclear bombs, but they're very capable scientists.
What about military capability? You know, Israel would have no problems, I'm sure, going over there, bombing perhaps areas where they think that they're enriching uranium in that country. The military option, do you think that that is something that people might say is a better one than negotiating with people whom they think that they cannot trust?
I don't. I think that if Israel were to move, if we were to strike against the known nuclear centers, installations in Iran, fine, we'd wipe them out. We could wipe them out. We've got the capability, much more than Israel has. But at our best, we're going to wipe out a program, and it will stimulate efforts in Iran to rebuild and be much more active. And I think it would be a bum idea to go and bomb. They feel they've been looked down on by the world, and that their status has been ignored as a major regional power. They are a major state.
Sure.
So let's see what can be done in terms of bringing them into a more normal relationship in the region and with the world. And we've seen in the elections of Rouhani in Iran an encouraging sign. They want to move out.
Well, they certainly do, and all eyes will be on this. Of course, a number of people, especially the Middle Eastern states, are biting their fingernails, and we'll bring you back for more analysis on this, Ambassador. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, but we got to work closely with them.
Gotcha. All right.